I drove 6 hours just to give my dad courtside tickets to the Lakers finals for his birthday. At dinner, he raised his glass and said, "To my lucky son, still a disappointment, but at least he's rich now." Then my uncle leaned over and whispered, "Fancy gifts don't make you less of a loser." I stood up, took the tickets back, and walked out. That night, I drove away shaking. I hadn't even stopped for coffee the whole trip. I kept imagining how it would go, how I'd surprise him with the gold-trimmed envelope and watch his face light up. Courtside seats to the finals, his dream. He used to say it was something only real men got to do. He never thought he'd be one of them. I worked hard to become one. I built a business from nothing, took every small job I could, kept going even when I was sick or exhausted. This gift was my way of saying, I remember the games we watched together, the rides to practice. I remember you. I just wanted to give back. But I shouldn't have. Dinner was supposed to be simple, just family, his favorite steak, a little cake, and then the surprise. I gave him the envelope before dessert. He looked confused at first, then shocked. "No way," he whispered. I smiled. "Courtside," he said louder, holding up the tickets. Everyone was excited. My uncle patted me on the back. My mom looked surprised. My cousin asked if they were real. And for a second, I saw my dad smile, really smile, for the first time in years. Then came the toast. "To my son," he said, "still a disappointment, but hey, at least he's rich now." Everyone laughed, but not in a nice way. It felt cold. My uncle leaned in and said quietly, "Luxury gifts don't fix being a loser." I froze. No one said anything, no one defended me. So I stood up, took the envelope from my dad's hand, and said, "You made your point, I'm taking the gift back." And I left. By the next morning, he had called me 67 times. Even his boss called me. 3 years ago, I was broke, sleeping on a mattress in a tiny, moldy apartment above a barber shop, living on instant noodles, working 3 part-time jobs just to get by. No rich friends, no lucky break, just me, a laptop, and a deep need to prove I wasn't a failure. When I dropped out of college, my dad said, "You always quit too soon, you never finish anything." He never asked why, never asked about my anxiety, debt, or fear, he just said I was weak. My brother Mark, he was the favorite, degree in finance, internship, fancy wedding. Me, the dropout, the joke. When I started my business, I didn't tell my dad. I knew he'd laugh. "You, a CEO? Of what, lemonade?" But I kept going. The business grew, slowly, painfully. Then one post went viral. Clients came in. Money followed. I got a better car, moved to a better place, took a real vacation. That's when they started noticing me again. My dad's first compliment in years? "Looks like you finally figured out how not to mess up." He laughed. I didn't. Still, I kept trying to make him proud. Last year, I paid off their mortgage, quietly, just sent the money and told Mom to check the account. She cried. He said, "That's the least you could do, after all we've done for you." What had they done? Mocked me, ignored me, made me the family punchline. Growing up in our house was hard. My dad didn't hit us, but his words cut deep. Every success was just luck, every dream was stupid. And Uncle Tom, the one who whispered at dinner? He never kept a job more than a year, drank in our garage more than I ever studied. But because he was family, everyone respected him. When I started freelancing, they called me Laptop Larry. At family BBQs, there's Larry and his little screen. Let the real men talk about real jobs. One time, I brought over a nice bottle of whiskey to celebrate a big client win. My uncle laughed. "Look at you, acting rich. Sure you didn't scam someone?" My dad added. "He probably made a slideshow and charged 10 grand for it." They never asked what I actually did. Never asked who I worked with. Never asked how hard it was. But you know what they did ask for? Money. "Can you help with car repairs? Your cousin needs tuition money. We're short on taxes, just this once." Always saying, family helps family. But when I needed help, they were gone. When I sold my guitar to make rent, no reply. When I skipped meals to pay debt, they said I was dramatic. When I cried in the garage one Christmas, my dad saw me and said, "Man up, no one likes a sob story." Now, I'm just a walking ATM to them. A bank with a face. They only care now because I'm successful. But deep down, I still hoped, foolishly, that maybe things had changed. That maybe I'd finally earned his respect. That's why I bought those tickets. $8,000 courtside seats, for him. I remembered the old photos of him in his high school basketball jersey. How he used to sneak a radio into bed just to hear the finals. I thought maybe this would be the moment. Maybe he'd finally look at me the way he looks at Mark. But instead, I got this. Still a disappointment, but hey, at least he's rich now. That one line hurt more than every insult I'd taken in 30 years. And the worst part? When I took the tickets back, no one said anything. Not Mom, not Mark. Like I was the one who did something wrong. But the calls started the next morning. 67 missed calls from Dad. 5 from Mom. 12 from Mark. Then a voicemail from a number I didn't know. This is Mr. Lambert, your father's supervisor at Westfield Automotive. He wants to speak with you, urgently. The call came at 9:17 a.m. At first, I thought it was a joke. Who sends their boss to fix a family fight? But Mr. Lambert was serious. Your dad's having a rough morning, he said. He showed up very upset, said it was a family matter. He wouldn't explain, but he asked me to call you, to mediate. Mediate what? I asked. He paused. A situation involving Lakers tickets. I almost laughed. He got his boss involved. Over this? He said he was too ashamed to call again, said he messed everything up. I hung up. Then Mom called. He didn't sleep last night, she said. He's been crying. That stopped me. My dad, crying? He says he's losing everything. He thinks you're going to ruin his life. Ruin his life? I asked, because I didn't let him insult me and still take the gift? No, she whispered, because he thinks you're going to go public, tell people. I never said that. What are you talking about? He says people are already talking. He's scared. That's when it hit me. He wasn't sorry for hurting me. He was just scared people would finally see who he really was. That's when I made my decision. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to his job. I didn't care how it looked. I wanted to say it to his face. I walked into Westfield Automotive like I was walking into a storm. The receptionist blinked. I'm here to see Bill, I said. She looked toward an office down the hall. He's in a meeting. Not anymore, I said, and pushed the door open. He was sitting at his desk, pale, holding a cup of coffee that shook in his hands. When he saw me, his eyes widened. You came, he said, barely above a whisper. I shut the door behind me. You called your boss, I said. I panicked, he said. I thought maybe if he could talk to you. Talk me into what? Giving back the tickets? Saying sorry for finally standing up for myself? It was a joke, he said quickly, a bad one. I was nervous, everyone was watching. You've been making me the punchline for 33 years, Dad, don't pretend this was something new. He looked away. Silent. I gave you something really special, I said, and you turned it into a joke, and when I walked away, you didn't follow me, you just sat there, you never know what to say, but somehow, you always know how to hurt me. Then he said something I'll never forget. You think walking away makes you strong? You're still that scared little boy who couldn't throw a ball right, you're just richer now. I stepped closer to his desk and leaned in. No, I said, I'm the man who built a life from nothing while you sat in this chair and laughed at me. I'm the man who paid off your debt, bought your house, and gave you the best night of your life, and I'm also the man who took it all back, because you never once showed me I mattered, unless I was giving you something. You're twisting everything, he said, his voice shaky. No, I'm just finally saying it out loud. Then the door opened. Mr. Lambert stood there, looking awkward and uncomfortable. Is everything all right? He asked. I turned to him calmly. Mr. Lambert, I said, you should know something about the man who runs this place. He treats people badly unless they're useful to him. His son gives him a gift that most people could never afford, and he calls him a disappointment in front of everyone. He's lucky I'm not a reporter, this would be all over the internet by now. My dad jumped up from his chair. Don't you dare embarrass me like this. I raised my hand. You embarrassed yourself. The room went silent. I looked straight at him. You want to be treated like a man? Then act like one. You want respect? Earn it, but don't ever call me again to fix the messes you created. I walked out. As I left, I saw Mr. Lambert put a hand on my dad's shoulder, whispering something I couldn't hear. Let him explain. Let the office gossip fly. I got in my car, pulled out my phone, and blocked his number. I let those 67 missed calls stay missed. I didn't reply to the voicemails, the texts, or the messages that went from "please talk to us" to "you're being immature" to "we're your family, like it or not." I turned my phone off for a whole week. No messages, no fake concern pretending to be love. And for the first time ever, the silence felt peaceful, not like punishment. I didn't wake up feeling sick, wondering if today would finally be the day my dad would say something nice. I wasn't trying to earn love from people who enjoyed cutting me down. I ate what I wanted, slept in, went to the gym, took a weekend trip to Santa Barbara. No plans, no pressure, no fake family dinners. I was alone, but I wasn't lonely. By the 5th day, I turned my phone back on, just to see. 73 missed calls. 41 from my dad. 12 from my mom. 8 from Mark. A few from numbers I didn't know, including one from my dad's work line again. I listened to one voicemail, just one. Son, I know I messed up. I'm not good with words, you know that, but I didn't mean it. Please don't let this be the end. Call me. I'm sorry. But I didn't call him back. Because I finally understood something. He wasn't sorry for what he said. He was sorry that this time, it mattered. The moment everything truly became clear came 2 weeks later, when my mom showed up at my door. I opened it in sweatpants and an old hoodie. I was half asleep. She looked small and tired, holding a casserole dish like we were still pretending to be some 1950s family. Hi, she said quietly, can we talk? I didn't answer. I just moved aside and let her in, not out of guilt, just curiosity. She put the dish down, sat on my couch like it was a shrine, and started right away. Your dad hasn't been the same, she said. I stayed quiet. He's not eating, he missed work, Mr. Lambert says he might retire early. So now you show up? I asked. She stiffened. I'm here because you're his son. And when I was paying the mortgage and buying gifts, what was I then, his credit card? She opened her mouth, then closed it, no answer. I leaned back. You didn't come to understand, you came to guilt me into forgiving him. I came because I love you. No, I said, you came because I was useful. The moment I said enough, I became the problem. She wiped her eyes like she couldn't believe what she was hearing, but I wasn't done. I gave him everything, my time, my money, my respect, and all he ever gave me was mockery, and now that I've walked away, you want me to fix his damage? Do you think this has been easy for me? She suddenly snapped. Do you think it was easy for me? Living with him, watching what he did to you, trying to keep the family together? Oh, so now you were the quiet hero? I stood up. You sat at every dinner, heard every cruel thing he said, laughed along, and never once told him to stop. You don't get to play innocent now. Her shoulders dropped. I'm not here to defend him, she said. I'm here to ask if there's a way back. No, I said, but there might be a way forward, and it doesn't include him dragging me backwards. She looked crushed, and no, I didn't feel powerful. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt free. But the final moment came a week later. Another knock at the door. I opened it, and there he was, my dad. His eyes were bloodshot, he'd lost weight, it looked like someone had drained the pride right out of him. He didn't say anything at first, just stood there. Then finally, I lost the tickets, he said. I blinked. He pulled out a crumpled envelope from his jacket. I kept the tickets in my drawer, even after you returned them. Part of me hoped that if I said the right thing, you'd give them back, but I lost them. I don't care, I said. He nodded. I know, that's not why I came. Then he said something I never expected to hear. I was a bad father. I thought if I pushed you enough, made fun of you enough, it would make you stronger, that you'd prove me wrong. I just stared at him. You think that's love? I asked. No, he said quietly, I think it was fear. He sat down on the step outside my door. I don't know how to fix what I did. I don't even know if I can. But I want you to know, I see it now. I see you, and I hate that it took losing you for me to realize it. He pulled out an old photo of me, 9 years old, smiling, holding a basketball, with 2 missing front teeth. I keep this in my wallet, he said. I used to wonder what went wrong, but now I know, it was me. I didn't cry. I didn't say anything for a while. Then I looked him in the eye and said, that little boy deserved better, and I closed the door. A week later, the silence settled in like dust. No more calls, no more visits, no more pretending, and I didn't miss them. I thought I would. I thought I'd second-guess myself, but I didn't, not once. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel broken. I felt sane, like I'd finally walked out of a burning house and didn't look back. My new therapist asked me in our first session, are you grieving the father you had, or the father you wished you had? I didn't hesitate. The one I wished I had, I said, because the one I had? I never really knew him. I only knew the version of me I had to become just to survive him. She nodded. Then your grief is also your rebirth. She was right. The next few weeks, I started living differently. No more awkward family dinners. No more pretending to be okay. No more favors with strings attached. I focused on myself, my work, my health, my peace. I bought a piano and started learning. Even though I had no idea what I was doing, I hiked on Sundays, alone. No social media, no proof, just me, breathing. I wrote again. I journaled everything I used to bury while hoping my dad would finally say he was proud. Then one day, my brother Mark called. I didn't answer. But I listened to his voicemail later that night. Hey, I get it now. About Dad. About everything. I heard what happened. I should have backed you up. I was wrong. He paused. He's not doing well. Mom says he stares at your photo all day. He quit his job. Just walked out. Another pause. I'm sorry. I deleted the message. Not to be mean. Just because I was done. Mark had his own journey. That wasn't my job anymore. Then came the final thread to cut, Uncle Tom, the one who once said, "Luxury gifts don't fix being a loser." He texted, "Didn't mean it like that. You know how I joke. Come by this weekend. Family's asking about you." I didn't reply. Instead, I took a screenshot, printed it, and folded it into an envelope. On the back, I wrote, "Luxury apologies don't fix being a coward." Then I mailed it. No name, no return address, just the truth. A week later, I got a message from someone unexpected, a woman named Natalie on LinkedIn. "Hi, you don't know me, but I used to work with your dad. He'd talk about you a lot, not in detail, but with this strange mix of anger and admiration. I just wanted to say, what you did mattered. People noticed, I noticed, and you helped me finally cut ties with my own toxic family. Thank you." I stared at it for a while, not because I needed praise, but because that was the moment I knew I hadn't just saved myself. I lit a path for someone else too. Now it's Saturday morning. I'm walking out of a coffee shop, sunglasses on, journal in hand. I stop by a bookstore, pick up a new notebook. The barista slips me her number. I smile, but I don't rush. I'm not chasing anyone. I'm not proving anything. I'm just living. And then I hear a boy behind me, maybe 10 years old, holding his dad's hand and pointing up at a billboard. "Dad, look, one day we'll go to the Lakers finals, right?" The father smiles and ruffles his hair. "One day, yeah, I'll get us there." I stop. My throat tightens, not from sadness, but from understanding. I don't envy that kid anymore. Because I became the man that boy wished his father would be. And that man? He doesn't need anyone's approval. He built his own table. Moral: I'm not angry anymore. I'm not waiting for an apology that won't come. I'm not haunted by being called a disappointment. Because now, I know exactly who I am, and who I'm not. I'm not your scapegoat. Not your bank. Not your punching bag. I'm not your son, if being your son means being your victim. I'm my own man. And I'm finally, truly free.